Good afternoon, and welcome to Streamlining E-commerce in an Omni-Channel world, our latest addition to the ongoing Business Solution Partners webinar series. Today, we're going to provide our viewers with an introduction to SuiteCommerce, Oracle NetSuite's cutting-edge e-commerce solution for businesses with multi-channel distribution needs. We're really excited to have a sizable live attendance today, and I hope that you will interact with us so that we can tailor this presentation to the needs of you, our audience. This webinar is brought to you by Business Solution Partners, purveyors of cloud-based business and financial management solutions for modern enterprise. We are an Oracle NetSuite Solution Partner provider, and I'm happy to announce that we recently received NetSuite's 5-Star Partner Award in 2019. In addition to NetSuite, we enjoy partner relationships with Kyriba, Adaptive Insights, HubSpot, and many more cloud platforms. We represent a wide variety of software and process solutions supported by training to ensure that your company succeeds in the modern business environment. Business Solution Partners is pushing the boundaries of e-commerce with a specialized team of multidisciplinary professionals. We're surfing the cutting edge, combining front-end, back-end process, and integration with other business systems to empower omni-channel retailers. You can see some of our partner accolades here and some great bullet points about our SCA team. My name is Craig Cook. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Business Solution Partners, and together here with my team, Mandy Lane and Michelle Connolly, we would like to welcome you to this educational NetSuite webinar. I'm going to take a minute to acknowledge Michelle as our webinar coordinator. She's responsible for all of our outreach, communication, and the registration processes. Thanks, Michelle, for helping to get all of our attendees here today. Finally, before I hand the baton over to Mandy so that we can get started, let's take a quick look at our agenda. We're going to talk about SuiteCommerce and introduce NetSuite's cutting-edge e-commerce solution. Give some compelling reasons as to why SuiteCommerce is a great solution. Talk about streamlining your e-commerce approach and how SuiteCommerce achieves a customer-centric focus. We'll also quickly touch on responsiveness and how it's important for a mobile world. We're going to talk about new and exciting features in SCA, including SuiteCommerce versus the SuiteCommerce Advanced, the themes and extensions, and we're going to round out our presentation today with tips for the advanced SuiteCommerce deployment. Excellent. Thank you for bearing with us. We're ready to get started. It's my pleasure to introduce your speaker today. Mandy Lane is Business Solution Partners' SuiteCommerce lead SuiteCommerce developer. And I don't think I'm going too far by saying she's one of the leading SCA developers in the NetSuite ecosystem. We're really fortunate to have her on our team and as a speaker for you today. Mandy has worked on the SuiteCommerce product since its inception and is the perfect person to walk you through all that Oracle NetSuite SuiteCommerce solution has to offer. So Mandy, I toss the baton over to you. Take it away.
Thanks, Craig. I appreciate it. So he already introduced kind of my background and where I come from. I was one of the first SuiteCommerce Advanced certified developers. I've been working full-time in SuiteCommerce Advanced since then, and more importantly, I've been working in e-commerce for well over 20 years. So really adversed in both the platform as well as just e-commerce in general. So to get us started, I thought we could start with an overview of kind of NetSuite's e-commerce platform. Having reviewed the attendee list, it looks like a good percentage of you are familiar and or are using with SuiteCommerce now, and about half of you are maybe new to SuiteCommerce as a platform, or maybe considering it, or maybe just looking into different things out in the ecosystem. So NetSuite's e-commerce platform is called SuiteCommerce. They have 2 different license types that you can use. One is SuiteCommerce and one is SuiteCommerce Advanced. This time last year, NetSuite announced with their new technology platform, the extension API interface and themes. So instead of everything having to be done in the code, they're having the ability to where you can install a theme or an extension and apply that to your website. In addition to NetSuite's e-commerce platforms and their themes and extensions on the Suite App Marketplace, they also offer marketing tools through Bronto Marketing. So SuiteCommerce, I'm going up instead of down. Here we go. So SuiteCommerce. Let me give you a little overview on what SuiteCommerce is and why you would even consider it as an e-commerce solution. It's a full-featured e-commerce solution, and the biggest benefit is it's fully integrated with NetSuite ERP. So as somebody comes to your website, they place an order, that order goes straight into your ERP. So you don't have to have all those connectors to connect Magento to ERP and then figure, Magento never knows what's in stock, and ERP, anything that customer service takes and puts into ERP isn't available for the customer to see in their My Account. It's a fully integrated platform. It's hosted on NetSuite's cloud, which the big benefits that brings you is primarily security, performance, and scalability. So being on a cloud environment, once upon a time you had to be, and there's plenty of people out there still doing it, with a co-located server or like a rack space VM or a AWS VM. There's a lot of administration and maintenance that goes into keeping your website up and running the 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year that e-commerce requires us to run. So NetSuite's cloud brings that to you without all of those administrative overheads. In addition, you have the security, because NetSuite's cloud platform and NetSuite as a product in general is an incredible security platform, and then it's PCI compliant, so you don't have to go through your own PCI compliance or anything like that. And then it has all the kind of e-commerce features and site management features that you would expect from an e-commerce platform. So, well, what does e-commerce compete with? Like, what is SuiteCommerce? Why would you consider it? Before I worked in SuiteCommerce, I ran and I started working here and at some other companies where I worked with SuiteCommerce. I ran e-commerce systems using about 10,000 apps. We would have an app for warehouse management. We would have another application for packing and shipping, like UPS Freight, WorldShip, that kind of thing. We would have QuickBooks or some other ERP where there'd be tons of manually entered data, this person talking to that person, emails flying back and forth, manually created spreadsheets, separate apps for everything. And it's just too much. And so the single biggest reason why you'd consider SuiteCommerce for your e-commerce solution is to have it all in one space, to have a single unified approach to your e-commerce solution. And as you can imagine, that saves quite a bit of time, reduces manual labor, improves accuracy because it eliminates all that human error and everything that you deal with when you're doing weight, and then saves hours and hours of manual labor time. So the platform itself is customer-centric. There's a very robust My Account area where customers can self-serve, see their orders, submit cases, track orders. We've had plenty of examples where customized My Account features have been added to My Account based on particular business needs, stuff like customized order forms or a shopping list, preloaded shopping list, that kind of thing. The themes and extension marketplace make the platform extremely extendable without even hiring a developer, but then of course you do have the ability to add a developer and customize or extend your website to your own specific business needs. Again, going back to that single platform perspective, an integrated order fulfillment is just critical. Like when customer picks up the phone and calls you and asks you a question, especially if it's a simple question like, is this in stock? Or when does my order ship? Or what's the status of my order? Having to go to 3 different places to answer one question is a nightmare. And there's still plenty of people operating in that point of view. I clicked the screen, sorry about that. Unlimited scalability. We've worked with clients with only 5 NetSuite users and a small SCA website, and I formerly was Sears Hometown and Outlet Stores engineering manager and NetSuite lead for all of their websites. They have 4 websites hosted on SCA. So as you can see, very, very scalable, all within a secure cloud hosting that you're not going to have to manage those servers and or VMs yourself. It's a responsive platform, so out of the box, you get something that's going to work on whatever the device size or type is. And then this is just kind of a smattering of like why you would use SuiteCommerce. I'm not going to bore you by reading it. I think I've covered most of the points anyway, but I wanted it in your slide deck so that when you get this, you have it in your, you know, in your file system and you refer back to it in the future, you'd have something to reference. So now I was going to jump into what some of the newer features that NetSuite's announced. I've alluded to some of these. So previously there was this concept of just SuiteCommerce Advanced. About this time last year, NetSuite announced a SuiteCommerce platform. So what's the difference? SuiteCommerce is a lower license. It's a much smaller license. It's less extendable, less customizable, but it is, you can have it look at however you want using either a preset theme or a custom theme, and you can use extensions, which extensions using the extension API layer have a lot of things you can do with them. It's not as many things that you can do with editing the SuiteCommerce source code itself. NetSuite introduced, if you're using extension API, the concept of auto upgrade, taking away the upgrade path hassles that upgrading direct changes to source code entails. They've announced search synonyms. I'll show you in a demo here later how to implement that and what the benefit of that is. And I know this is really minor, but for those of you who are developers out there, the upgrades are going to be bi-yearly and just named by the year number like NetSuite upgrades are. So no more Aconcagua and Kilimanjaro, and it's going to be 19.1, 19.2, 20.1, 20.2, and so on. So that'll be easier to keep track of. All right, so here's a little chart showing why you would consider SuiteCommerce versus SuiteCommerce Advanced. Of course, your consultant or NetSuite themselves can help you make this decision, but as a just quick overview, the license fee for SuiteCommerce is less. They both support Suite themes and extensions. SuiteCommerce works for Aconcagua or newer. So if you have older code base that you're inheriting, you're using, you're not going to be able to utilize the SuiteCommerce platform, but you would obviously always be able to use the SuiteCommerce Advanced platform. Extensions API is available on both platforms from Aconcagua or newer, and customizations you can do on SuiteCommerce through themes or extensions, and in SuiteCommerce Advanced through themes, extensions, and the full code base API. Versions, upgrades for SuiteCommerce, it's only automatic. And then for SuiteCommerce Advanced, you have the ability to schedule your own updates. If you're a big enough site and you have enough customizations, and especially if you don't want your upgrades to happen when NetSuite dictates, like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when 19.1 comes along or whatever the upgrade on NetSuite I'm not quite ready for it. I'd rather be able to schedule that myself. So for SuiteCommerce Advanced, you can schedule those upgrades pursuant to your own QA schedule and your own dev cycle, but not for SuiteCommerce. All right, so why would you pick SuiteCommerce Advanced versus SuiteCommerce is basically based on the customizations you're using and if the extensibility API supports it. And also you would have to be on one of the more latest versions of the latest version. SuiteCommerce Advanced is always only going to be on the latest version of SuiteCommerce Advanced. So what are themes? So I keep referencing these themes. So themes are the skin of the website. That's the look and feel of the website. So header, footer, global colors, fonts, global settings like body copy, H1, H2, H3, paragraph copy, stuff like that. So the buttons, how forms look, how different elements look, that's the theme. So the advantage of this concept that you can buy themes on their Suite Apps marketplace is traditionally on SuiteCommerce, you had to have a custom theme. And in websites in general, traditionally, you had to hire somebody to design and develop your theme. But as we've seen in other platforms like Magento or WooCommerce, WordPress, there's this world of pre-existing websites that are developed. They have a look and feel. They have colors, features, page layouts, that kind of stuff, already ready to go. And so a quick way to get to market with your e-commerce site is to pick a theme, use that theme instead of doing a custom website, and then just get your content, your pictures, your items into the website, launch, and then as you have things that you want to change, add, extend, you can do that on a business need basis. So the world over the last 5 years in web and e-commerce has really changed in that way, in that websites don't necessarily have to be custom designed. You might still want to do that, and this platform certainly will support it. But that was a pretty big announcement, especially for getting to market super fast and for people with lower budgets. SuiteCommerce extensions. So these are a list of some of the SuiteCommerce extensions that have been recently released. Since making this list, there's probably 5 that I would have swapped out because new extensions have come out. And I thought, oh, that one was really cool. But obviously you can see I just filled the page. I wanted a sampling of the kind of things an extension might do. So for example, on your contact page, having the map and contact info, a photo gallery page, a size chart, a logo list, bestsellers. So the advance that this gives you is to be able to take a concept like having a map on your contact us page and just grab it from the Suite Apps market and add it to your website without having to hire a developer to do that. I'm sure that there's still things that will be unique to your business that maybe you would want to develop, but at least for some of the more common things, other businesses might also need, you could be able to save that time and money and hit it and go to market faster with those features. So with themes and extensions, a couple of things. First of all, you can do, it's just unbelievable what you can do. As you've seen in other markets, like for example, WordPress and Shopify and Magento, that those theme and extension marketplace have just exploded. There's so many things. And even since NetSuite announced this only a year ago, it's unbelievable what's become available in the themes and extension marketplace. Couple of things to point out. First of all, you have to be on the latest version. It's Akakwanga or newer, which came out a year ago. So if you're on 18.2 or upcoming here soon, 19.1, you can take advantage of themes and the extension API. Second of all, the themes and extensions, it's unbelievable how fast this is going to grow. Just since this time last year, there are themes and extensions, and when they first announced it, there wasn't, right? So it's just a hugely growing marketplace. So kind of watch that ecosphere and see what you can take advantage of. So now I thought I would jump into actual tips and some demos and stuff like that on NetSuite SuiteCommerce and show you some of the things that I just talked about. Okay, so first I wanted to show you extensions. I will make sure I'm still logged in. Excellent, okay. Okay, so how do you install themes and extensions? So first, you would do your themes and extensions are installed like they're bundles. So you would go to search and install bundles, and then you would search for that bundle or theme and extension and install it like you would install a bundle. Obviously, in the course of a webinar, installing a bundle, like would take too long. So I just mainly wanted to point out that you install the theme or extension like you would install a bundle using your bundle installation tools. And then to add it to the website, what you do is you come to SuiteCommerce Advanced, and then you go down to Extension Manager. You go to the website that you're editing. This is a good point. I'm going to pause here. SuiteCommerce and SuiteCommerce Advanced supports multiple domains. Each domain can have their own unique theme and extension or extensions applied to it. And in doing so, you can have, I think it's up to 7, it might be up to 5 completely unique websites on the platform. If you do use those unique websites, note that the My Account area and the checkout is going to be the same for all of the websites. So I'm going to go to Edit here next to Sandbox, which is the website that I have live here. And what you would do is you'd go to Themes. Once the theme has been installed as a bundle, then you can choose the theme here. You can apply the checkbox, and then you click Activate. Again, I'm not going to do that because in the course of a webinar, we would be sitting here watching, watching it install instead of going on to new topics. Extensions work the same way. You'll notice I haven't installed extensions yet. As soon as you, on this platform, as soon as you install the extensions, they show up in a list just like this. You checkbox the extension that you want, and then you click Activate. And note, you had already picked the domain that you were on, so that was the first step. So installing the themes and extensions is that easy. I'm going to go back to my slide because this is how I cheat. So the next thing I was going to talk to you about was themes. I showed you how they're installed, but I wanted to show you how you might edit them. So here within the website, if you press the Escape button, it gets you into SuiteCommerce Advanced CMS area.
Hey, Mandy, we have a quick question from Amanda.
Sure.
Amanda's on Kilimanjaro. Is she able to use themes and extensions? And if no, what's the procedure that they need to follow to get them?
Sure. So Kilimanjaro does not support themes or extensions. You would have to upgrade to either the latest version or Aconcagua or newer, which came out last year. The key difference is that the Aconcagua and newer have the local dev environment for themes and extensions and have the extension API. So you'd have to be on Aconcagua or newer to leverage themes and extensions. So I had, during this time, is there another question or should I?
No, Amanda just says thank you.
Okay, thanks, Amanda. So what I had logged into, I'm going to do this again because I had done that while before, I want everyone to see how I got here. So when you press Escape, it brings you to this page right here. And so I pressed Escape when I was looking at the site. I logged in, and it brought me to what I call CMS, which is the content management system for the e-commerce site. So if I go over here to the little settings button, then I can click themes. You can't apply a theme here, but you can pick different skins. You can pick the palette. You can change colors and shades within the palette using this tool. So when I was talking about themes and I was describing what all kinds of things make up a theme, this is kind of what I meant. You have different colors and buttons, and you can set those all here on this themes, and then I'd click apply, and then it would change in the website. So that is kind of the central control mechanism for, like, once I've installed that theme using, switching back to NetSuite, once I've installed the theme, then if I'm in the CMS, I am able to edit the colors and features of that theme. We'll go a little bit more into CMS here in another couple of slides.
Mandy, Robert's got a question. So you showed us how to install the bundles and the themes. Where can we find this? Where's the marketplace?
It's at suiteapps.com, and it's growing. So this time 6 months ago, there wasn't a lot, and in the last, let's see if I can pull it up. Suite app, there we go. So here you go. You would find it on NetSuite Suite App Marketplace. And it's growing. Like I said, this time last year, there was nothing. This time 6 months ago, I think I saw like 5 or 10 different things that you could do. And more recently, I think there's probably like 30-something themes. And I haven't really counted, 30-something extensions, and I haven't really counted themes. NetSuite does have some themes available. We have to talk to NetSuite directly to be able to access and use those, though. I'm going to pause for a second just to see if there was a follow-up on that question.
Oh, Robert's quiet right now, but if there is, I'll let you know.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so we just covered the themes. Another new feature was search synonyms. So first, let's start with what is a search synonym. The example I put in my screen here was range, stove, and oven. So if I used to work at Sears, and at Sears, if you come to the website, we don't want you to find the wrong thing. Like if you're looking for an oven, but you type in stove, we still want you to find it. So that's where the concept of search synonyms comes in. It's managed here under Setup, and then SuiteCommerce Advanced, and then, you have to have AIM, one-way synonyms or group synonyms. So one-way synonym, I can click New One-Way Synonym, is I'm searching for oven, but I want to find ranges, stoves, and cooktops. You can choose which site this applies to, and you can choose which language this is relevant to. Then I would click Save. This isn't relevant to this particular test site, so I don't want to put it in there, but then you'd click Save. Alternatively, instead of having one-way synonyms, you can do group synonyms. Leave. Which basically means when I go new group synonym and I type range, oven, stove, any of those will reference the other ones on the website. So that was one new feature. Back to my slides. So while we're here, this isn't a new feature, but I wanted to take a moment to just like show everybody the configuration editor. This actually came out with SCA quite some time ago, and it's really powerful because there's just so much you can do with it. And as a developer, you can even add extra things into configuration. So what you do, I breezed past that too fast. You go to Setup, and then you go to SuiteCommerce Advanced, and then you come down and you go to Configuration. And when you come to configuration, it lets you choose a website and a domain. So website is each SCA license, and then a domain, each license can have multiple domains. So say you're doing micro marketing and you've got, 3 different websites with 3 different looks and feels, but they're really running off of the same back end. So I'm going to click Configure. And what this does is it loads all of the different configuration flags. Some of these will have pretty powerful implications. I think the one I wanted to show you was just editing the footer. So if you go layout and you go footer, I could change links, add links, choose my column. Homepage carousel, I could add my, images, links, that kind of stuff. Under shopping catalog, facets, I can choose how many facets I want per page, stuff like that. Here's where I would rename facets and choose like which facets are even going to be shown. So this is a really powerful tool to use. And as a SCA developer, in my code, I can even extend this. So not with an extension API, but within the editing the direct code, you can add extra fat things that you know, like say for example on the home page there's a tagline. You could put the tagline in here, and that way a business user could come in and edit the tagline without having to go into the code or talk to the developer. You know what, before I leave configuration, and I could completely do a session just on configuration and everything that's in here, but before I leave the configuration, my purpose of this was to make sure and like throw it out there and make sure you knew about it. 90% is knowing what you don't know, and then that last 10%, now that you know it's there, you can come out and play with it or search on how to work with it. Does anyone have any questions on configuration before I leave it though? So, Craig, I think that's a no so far.
Doesn't look like we have any questions. We are going to revisit a question from Robert just a little bit later, but let's continue.
Okay. The next thing I put up here was content management system. We had touched on it a little bit. I'm going to go into some other features of the content management system.
Look, Mandy, I'm going to pause you for 1 second.
Okay.
We've got a couple of questions coming in.
Okay.
What's the difference between setup, website, and configuration? That's from Chicago.
Okay, let me just show you that real quick. So under setup, SuiteCommerce Advanced, setup website, that's the first thing that was just referenced. I want everyone else to see what the question is. So they were asking, what's the difference between setup website and configuration? So open that in a new tab. So the way I would think of this is setup website is more your administrative features. So this is really the guts of how the website's going to run. So things like if we go to default hosting, this is the actual like file cabinet root, what price level the website's going to use. The shopping tab has things like what kind of sales order forms you're using, which dollar and currencies you're using. So these are like the settings that actually run the website, if that makes sense. Field sets, these are all of the fields exposed to the web. Under search engines, your facet, search fields, sort fields. So these are when you go to your product listing page, it shows you what you can search on, what you can group by, what you can narrow search results with. So this all kind of touches between SCA and the back end. So if you were to compare this to other web systems, this would be like Apache's settings or Microsoft Web Server's settings, versus in the configuration file, now the website's live, you've already set it up, and this is kind of like what traditionally web developers have done is put a JSON file in the root of their development, and then they've put basic settings in that JSON file. So this is basically, and in fact the early stages of SCA, it was a JSON file. So this is basically like replacing the JSON file with all those like more front-end questions like, you know, how many results per page do I want? What's the maximum, you know, rate on a review rating? You've got these, you know, templates for your wish list. You've got your footer. You've got navigation, your top navigation. You can put colors. You can put like, you know, a tagline, a copyright statement, you know, stuff like that. So I think to get back to circle back to the question, setup is really more actual kind of web server setup, And then configuration is more website configuration. Craig, does that get us, follow-up questions or anything?
As a follow-up to that, when we want to make changes to the website, shall we go for the setup website or configuration? I'm assuming that Shefali is talking about the front end of the website.
Well, it depends on what you want to change to the website. So I would have to drill down into what it is that you're wanting to update or change.
In the meantime, while we're giving Shefali a chance to answer that question, Ken asks, are there out-of-the-box templates, or do these have to be built from scratch? So if we install SCA implementation from scratch, what does it come with, and where do we go from there?
Okay, well, let me show you. I'm trying to go to. There we go. Let me show you an out-of-the-box, what the website looks like out of the box. No, okay, I have to think of what it's called. Well, hold on one second. I can look this up. I think it'd be really interesting, and everybody would find value in seeing what it looks like out of the box. So out of the box, it comes like this, and there's the categories. And on this particular website, I've loaded it with some items and some categories, but I haven't done any code changes or even applied a theme at all. So this is like truly not massaged, if you will. And then if you wanted to apply a theme, here's an example of a site with some code changes, but really not much. Well, we were looking at their sandbox site, but this particular website, we've made some minor code changes, but most of it's just in the theme. I would say our code changes were like less than 10%. Most of this is a theme applied, and then colors changed and stuff like that through the theme, and then some minor code changes.
So without necessarily paying a lot of attention to, or the design elements of the website, from a pure e-commerce perspective, we can get up and running relatively quickly based on this framework.
Yeah, if we're wanting to use, if the idea is if we can pick a theme and extensions that can get us across that line, then we could get live and then work from there with custom features or extensions or things that would be unique and value added to your business. Excellent.
So Ken chimed in and said, clearly SuiteCommerce has more options than the standard Customer Center. Are there any features in Customer Center that are not readily available in SuiteCommerce? He's trying to understand the differentiation.
So let me first explain to the group kind of what Ken's getting at. In NetSuite itself, there's a concept called the Customer Center, and I need to kind of go to, this is really in the way, there we go. Go to my CAP account and look and see. And then let's go to a customer. Okay, so here's a test user. And we can give this test user access to a NetSuite Customer Center. And in the Customer Center, she can have access to basic stuff. I wasn't geared up to show that though, so I'm not gonna really be able to show her Customer Center. But what I can do is in NetSuite, I can register and log in and show you an out-of-the-box Customer Center, and then I could show you a very customized Customer Center. Okay, so here's a completely, like I said, I haven't applied any code to this at all. So this is a completely out-of-the-box customer center. You can see your purchase history. You can request and manage returns. You can reorder items. You can request and manage quotes. You can manage your wish list, which, by the way, on the individual products, you can add things to wish lists and that kind of thing. You can manage your billings, so your account balances, your invoices, you can pay from here, your transaction history, you can print a statement. And then in settings, you can do things like manage your credit cards, your addresses, your emails, update passwords, profile information, that kind of stuff. So this is what it looks like completely out of the box. I'll show you an example of a pretty customized, I want to go to Sandbox though. Yeah. So this is, you can see, I brought this up so you can see it with, you know, orders in it. These are all sample orders I've put in. With the order itself, there's some example shopping lists. Bulletins is an example of a totally custom feature. So this particular company wanted to be able to put notices and information, maybe upsells, cross-sells, latest things. Cases is supported out of the box. You'll notice Cases isn't here. You just have to enable that on the NetSuite side, and then it shows up. This isn't custom coding. It's just enabled is the difference there. And then we've done, on this particular account, we've done like even custom reporting on the management level. But what you just saw, both of those were out of the box, so just so you have an idea. So this account was meant to be for corporate purchasing, and I logged in the first time as an end club who can order. Now I've logged in as a corporate manager who would approve orders, so you'll see my team's recent purchases, and then these team members I can approve or deny the budget. Now this is like customized, and you'll notice also other things are missing here that were on the other side, and then there's custom reporting. So just kind of an example of what you can do customizing the site versus just right out of the box what it comes with, you know.
Mandy, I'm just going to interject. We've got about 13 minutes left. We have one question from Robert that we want to get back to at the tail. Okay. And Amanda has a question as well. Why don't we push forward, finish up with your presentation, and then we will finish up with our questions, and then we'll close it up.
Okay, sounds good. Oh, okay, so right now I was going to quickly show you guys the content management system. Okay, so we're in the content management system. The reason I switched my account over here is NetSuite associates that. Since I'm on the same browser, it would have seen me as being logged into a different account. So within content management system, if you click this right here is a preview. This right here is edit mode, and this right here is the publish and change. So let me start with the overview mode. I can either go to my landing pages and then preview or edit one of them. I'm going to edit one of them. So here's a landing page. And I can edit my, my metadata, add something to head, general, or let's go back to events. If I press that button, and I go to edit mode, now you can see there's like this little editing button, and I can come in here and edit this. So this particular one was HTML code, but let's say I'm going to do a new page. Let's see if I have a test page already up. I don't, but that's okay. So we'll go new landing page, and I'll call it test. And I'll save that. And now I'm going to click this click the eyeball and click go to edit mode. And see how I have this little edit field? I can edit that directly right there, or I can click the add button. I can add images, CMS zones. And the reason I was getting to this, you can see I've got all pages, and I've got this one CMS landing page. I have this page and all pages. So if I want this page, I could drag an image into that, and then I could find the image and save it and stuff. One of the things extensions does, which is this is now driving to the big reason I wanted to show you this, is you can install, once we install and activated the extension, some of the extensions are content types. So I could, if I had a custom content type installed via extensions, then that could show up here and I could drag that into my landing page and have that in my landing page as a feature. And then now that I have this done, so I'm going to go ahead and edit it and say, hello. What I would have to do is I could publish it. So that's on the publishing tab. And then I've got these various features. And then I click publish. Or do you want to publish the selected changes? And it says it was changed. And you could also schedule when I wanted it to publish. So say I was putting together a sale for Memorial Day, I could schedule all of those things to go live, say, a week before Memorial Day. So that was CMS in a nutshell. Also within CMS is the product categories. So you can see the categories, they're listed here. Within NetSuite, to see the categories, you'd go to List, Website, and then Commerce Categories. It's really confusing. I want to take a quick minute to show you. An item has this tab that says categories, but that applies to Site Builder, not SuiteCommerce. So SuiteCommerce uses commerce categories. Now, if I go to any of these categories, so we'll go to electrosurgery, you'll see the items listed there. So let me go to the same one here. That's that one. Then you see this box that has the items listed. So I can add items to my category from within here. So if I wanted to add the moose, I could add the moose to this category from within here. And then I would click save. I don't want to save that though. And then it would be added to the categories. And I think that summarizes the rest of our, let's see, because I went through the next two slides already. Yep, commerce categories in NetSuite. And now we're ready for questions. So let's circle back to questions, Greg.
So here was a great question that Robert had from earlier, and I said we were definitely going to circle back. In the themes library, the marketplace, he had trouble kind of just highlighting themes or modules. Are there good keywords to search, or what's the best way to sort and filter that list out there?
I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, we'd be happy to email you and get back to you on that. One thing that I find really useful is in the SuiteCommerce developer community, which is developers.suitecommerce.com. They have in their releases, let's see, docs, maybe it's in here. There you go. In the release notes, they've been including some of the, so here's with 18.2, they've been including some of the extensions that have been released. So there's been on this site kind of an ongoing list of extensions, and I've been kind of watching that. Also, when you come to this particular website, at the very beginning, you saw it says, do you want to subscribe for emails? I recommend subscribing to those because I also find out about those via the email. And in terms of suiteapps.com and how to search and filter, I'll be happy to get back to you on that via email.
Yeah, I would also just add that it's a relatively new endeavor, right? And we're still, with so many being added, I don't know if we necessarily had the best sort functionality on day one, but hopefully it's something that we'll be working towards, right?
They have. So in January, that's suiteapps.com, just so everyone knows, is a NetSuite website. It's NetSuite's marketplace, and that's what they use for their apps that they use within NetSuite itself. And I went to a product planning meeting with NetSuite in January, and they did indicate that they were putting quite a bit of work into SuiteApps.com to improve the functionality for this upcoming sort of flood that they're expecting associated with themes and extensions. All of the other platforms, when they released that capability, just really blew up with extensions and themes. It's kind of a big deal, and a lot of changes will happen because of that over the next year, just as we've seen in only the last 6 months.
Excellent. Amanda has a question, a little bit off topic, but she's been working with support to fix some bugs in Kilimanjaro. Patches have been applied to the code. If we update the SCA to a newer version, are these patches going to cause problems? How do customizations upgrade? How does the customization code get affected when you upgrade?
So when you go from one version to the next, especially if you have patches that were NetSuite related patches, you can usually tell from the release notes if that patch was included in the upgrade, and a lot of times it is. But I think it's a really relevant question beyond just patches, because also a lot of customers out there that are on earlier versions of SuiteCommerce have made customizations, extensions, and enhancements that need to be carried forward. So it kind of depends on how your developer originally developed it. So I've done probably 3 upgrades in the last year to this latest platform. And when I do those upgrades, I've seen in one case, the code wasn't developed with extensions and code in its own separate folders. They just edited the source code. And so that was kind of the biggest nightmare. And it was just basically like a dev tool compare and contrast technique. There are plenty of dev tools that you can use text-based compare and contrast. So for that particular example, I literally had to do a code compare to figure out what needed to be upgraded and what didn't. On other sites, so all through this time you've been seeing me bring up Parkel. Now their extensions were not that not that extensive, but they came from an earlier version as well. So for theirs, we just had to, it had been developed so that those were separate anyway, so we were able to put the original code base underneath it and resolve those issues with a Q&A process. So it depends on how your developer extended the original code. And then with the patches from NetSuite, it depends on if the patch is in the latest version or not. So I would just try it and jump into it and start working with it, Sometimes, and that's why the auto upgrade and using the extension API moving forward is such a great idea, because NetSuite's committed that their upgrade path, they will support their extension API layer so that they don't have to go through all of this kind of individual case-by-case upgrade path, because that really has been one of the harder aspects of working with SCA is the amount of work that goes into upgrades.
Speaking of upgrades, first of all, let me just a housekeeping note. We're running past the hour here. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. If you stick around, we'll answer your questions, and then we'll close out the day. But we do have a couple of questions, so I want to keep this live and keep this open. If you're willing to stick it out with us, we'll stick it out with you. As a follow-up to the question we were just talking about, how are the upgrades between core NetSuite and SCA related? If core NetSuite is updating, does it impact SCA's functionality?
So it depends. A lot of what is on SCA is front-end web functionality only. But sometimes, for example, if you have a customized checkout or an extended My Account that's integrating with the customer record, an upgrade to the customer record could affect SCA functionality. So I would say 85, 90% of the time, NetSuite core upgrades don't affect SCA functionality, but occasionally it might. So here's a recent example of when a core upgrade did affect SCA functionality. I had an SCA website that was using a third-party tool from within NetSuite to populate a custom record. That third-party tool had a authentication handshake between NetSuite and the third-party tool, and the new two-factor authentication affected that. So we had to make changes to that authentication so that the custom record could still be updated with this new pricing, and then but the authentication between the third party and NetSuite was maintained intact once that second two-party authentication went live in NetSuite. And I know a lot of other developers who've had to upgrade code based on that two-factor authentication change. Another change I remember happening was more towards the sales order side of things. Like we had a script that was firing after a sales order was placed, so it really didn't happen in SCA. It was a NetSuite ERP, but it happened after an SCA sales order was placed. So based on that, we were able to update that script to take advantage and work with the NetSuite upgrade. But, you know, usually it doesn't. It's just been those specific cases, you know.
Great. Two questions from Robert regarding the CMS. Do NetSuite standard APIs have access so that you can populate code or data from an external source into the CMS?
I certainly could see how you could do that, but it would be a custom programming. It wouldn't be something that NetSuite has out of the box, or maybe an extension would come our way at some point that supports something like that. As far as I know right now, there's like that one extension that has the map on a contact us page is Google API, so that there's an example. But I think generally speaking, that would be something that you could program, but it wouldn't be out of the box.
And also from Robert, can you confirm that 2018.2 code is isolated from the source code for easier upgrades?
Well, if you use the extension API, it depends on the level of customization, because the extension API only covers so much of the customizations. I've certainly talked to prospects and clients recently that have had customization needs that are beyond what the extension API can support. So if you can live within the extension API and perform all your upgrades within the extension API, then the upgrade process will be so much easier. If you need to upgrade the code directly because of the complexity of what you're doing, then that is what it is. But when you upgrade, you'll have to upgrade that manually. And so good code practices help a manual upgrade. I mean, a manual upgrade doesn't have to be like crazy hard, but it just is a little, like the word says, a little more manual.
All right. Well, the fire in chat has died down a little bit. Why don't we throw up those last couple of slides?
Okay.
One of which was the Q&A slide. So we're going to give everybody one more opportunity. If you have any additional questions, please get them in. If not, please feel free to follow up with us. One exciting thing is that Mandy will be available at SuiteWorld, along with a lot of other representatives from the Business Solution Partners team. So come out and have a drink with us, meet us, network with us, get to know us, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have there as well.
And thanks, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity today.
Great. Yeah, this was a really great crowd. Thank you all for all of your participation. We're going to just do a quick commercial here for everybody that's listening. Still, we are the purveyors of SuiteSpot, which is the NetSuite to HubSpot connector. We recently created the NetSuite to HubSpot connector and have deployed it for a couple of customers, including one of the example customers that we spoke about today, Parkel. And this is a great tool that allows your NetSuite system to talk to your HubSpot system so that marketing, sales, and e-commerce can work together for a better user experience and solving for the needs of the customer. If you have any questions about SuiteSpot, let us know. It's a great product. And then finally, thank you all for coming today. On behalf of myself, Mandy, and Michelle, and the whole Business Solution Partners team, we really appreciate you taking the time and all the great questions that you added to the conversation. Finally, if you want to get in touch with us, here's our contact information. And that'll do it. We are 6 minutes past the hour. Thank you for your extended time today. As we said, the recording of this webinar will be made available by Monday, and we look forward to getting it out to all those people that said, hey, when's the recording coming out? Thank you for your participation again. Thank you for your time today, and have a great, great rest of the week.